Welcome to Rearview Diaries. I'm Paul, your host. I was always fascinated by how we have lost contact talking to people, especially strangers. Then I discovered rideshare is one way where we are connected randomly to a total strangers, and some, when they open up, they have so many fascinating stories. And it's just been an amazing experience learning about people that would never come across my life except in this private, intimate space in my car. And this next story happened to be one of them. This morning, I picked up a lovely couple from their apartment. First thing I noticed wasn't them, it was a mountain of luggage waiting by the front door. That usually means one thing: someone's about to go on an adventure. The gentleman was all smiles, almost like a kid on a Christmas morning, and he kept running back and forth, loading suitcase after suitcase in my trunk. Meanwhile, his partner was trying to lock the front door, but was having trouble with the key. Without missing a beat, he hurried back to help her. Before we even left the driveway, I could tell these two had something special. They were playful, affectionate, and genuinely excited to be together. Once they settled in the back seat, I caught their smiles, quiet laughter, and in my rearview mirror, I asked my usual airport question. So which airline are we heading to? They told me, and we were on our way. A few minutes later, I asked, where are you two off to? Central America, they said. We're heading to a beach resort. I smiled and that's a great choice. He laughed and said, I just want to sit on the beach and do absolutely nothing. She smiled and we both need a break. As we talked, I noticed he had an accent. So where are you from? I'm originally from Italy, he said, but I later moved to the UK. And she's from the United States, obviously. Their chemistry was impossible to miss. Naturally, I asked, so, are you married? No, he said, we live together. Then came the question I love asking the most. So how did you two meet? That's when the real story began. They met while scuba diving during an international trip. She immediately jumped in laughing. Honestly, when I first met him, I didn't even think he was attractive. He just came across way too aggressive. We all laughed, and I joked, maybe that's the Italian passion. She pointed at me and laughed. Exactly. Then she explained what changed everything. One rainy afternoon, he quietly offered her his umbrella. It wasn't a grand romantic gesture. It was simple, kind, and thoughtful. And in that moment, she saw something completely different. She realized he wasn't aggressive at all. He was a gentleman. They spent rest of the vacation together, and when he learned that he was leaving a day later than he was, he changed his flights so they could have one more day together. And that was the beginning. After the trip ended, the real life began. He was living in the UK, she was living in the US, and most people would call it impossible. Instead, they turned it into an adventure. Rather than always visiting each other's homes, they started meeting in different countries around the world. Their first international date was in Iceland, and over the next 4 years, they built their relationship one passport stamp at a time. Then COVID hit, borders closed, travel stopped, but they refused to let the distance win. They discovered that Mexico was one of the few countries open to both Americans and people living in the UK, so they met there and spent several months together. Whenever they found a way together, they took it. Europe, Latin America, wherever life allowed. Finally, 2 years ago, he decided he didn't want to say goodbye at the airports anymore. He applied for a work visa in the US. The first opportunity he received was in Atlanta, so he packed up his life and moved. And she was already here. And ever since, they've been building a life together while still doing what they love the most, traveling the world. The rest of the ride felt like watching a romantic comedy. They tease each other constantly. Insisted that fettuccine alfredo isn't real Italian food. He shook his head and mocked disappointment. They laughed about differences between American and European traditions, but it was very effortless and comfortable. The kind of relationship that makes you smile without realizing it. By the time we reached the airport, I find myself thinking about something. People love to say long distance relationships never work, but these two were living proof that they can. Not because long distance is easy, it's not. It works because two people keep choosing each other again and again. Even when it's inconvenient, expensive, and uncertain, sometimes love isn't all about finding the closest person. Sometimes it's about finding the right person. Even they're on the other side of the world, watching them reminded me that the best journeys aren't measured by miles you travel. They're measured by a person who's waiting to travel them with you. And the thing that she said that was memorable is now we leave together and we come back together. Thank you for listening to another episode of Rearview Diaries. If you like my stories, please subscribe and like, and please pass along to your other friends. Thank you for listening to Rearview Diaries.